Okay, so today we are looking at three major events in American history. The moon landing, the assassination of JFK, and 9/11. Now, as you may know, the official story is something that a lot of people do not accept. Okay, so we're going to look at the official story, and then we'll see some of the issues with the official story. So first, I want to show you some videos. First, we're going to watch the moon landing. So in 1969, July 20th, they shoot three men into space, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins, Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong becomes the first man in the world to walk on the moon. Okay, and this is his journey. All right, so let's watch it together. What you will see is that it takes a lot of thrust to get the man into space.
40 feet down, 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Fake shadow. 4 forward, drift into the right level.
This is considered the greatest achievement in human history. It took years and years of hard work involving 400,000 people all working for NASA to accomplish this perfect landing on the moon.
Blue, we're breathing again. Thanks a lot. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. I'm at the foot of the ladder. The 11 footbeds are only...
What is amazing is that this is being broadcast live from the moon back to NASA. So their technology back then is far superior to our technology today.
4 steps per man. 1 diaphragm per man. Tony, this is so great you can't believe it. I believe it, Charlie. It's raining, Johnny. Look at it go, would you, Charlie? You got all your steering against the rain. Oh, this is going to be some kind of different ride. Hippity-hoppity, hippity-hoppity, hippity-hopping over hill and dale.
I know this looks fake, but it's not, okay? This is official NASA footage, live from the moon. And this is the best part, okay? The best part is when they return from the moon back to Earth. You see how easy it is? It's just like they just fly up. No resistance at all, okay? Perfect. Humanity's greatest achievement. Now, what's amazing is that while they were on the moon,
Both of you on the camera for a minute, please.
President Nixon and the astronauts had a phone conversation. Okay?
All right, you'd like to get both of you on field of view of the camera for a minute.
Yeah, I think something rather important is coming up here.
Neil and Buzz.
This is being broadcast live to American people. Okay?
I would like to say a few words to you, over.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval of the Mountains. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made from the White House. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you have done. For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives. And for people all over the world, I am sure that they too join with Americans in recognizing what an immense feat this is. Because of what you have done, the heavens have become a part of man's world.
Okay? The heavens have become part of man's world, right? Remember how last class we talked about how they wanted to bring the heavens down to earth. Okay, this is the idea of inversion. Okay? But do you see how amazing it is that they were able to have this seamless phone conversation? Okay? Okay. Now, they go to the moon, and you would think that they would come back, and they're heroes, right? Imagine if the school took you all on a trip to Mount Everest. You spend 6 months climbing the world's tallest mountain. You come back, and you feel amazing, right? You feel on top of the world. You're ecstatic. You want the whole world to know about it. Well, they should be feeling the same thing, right? Okay, here's a press conference after the Sorry.
I have two brief questions I'd like to ask, if I may. When you were carrying out that incredible moonwalk, did you find that the surface was equally firm anywhere, or were there harder and softer spots that you could detect? And secondly, when you looked up at the sky, could you actually see the stars and the solar corona in spite of the glare?
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar corona what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any.
I don't remember seeing any stars. He doesn't remember anything, okay? Did you see how nervous they are? It's very strange. All right? And that's why, even today, there are a lot of people who do not believe the moon landing happened. Okay, so we'll go over the theories as to why. The moon landing, okay? I'm not saying the moon landing was faked, but there's an argument that it is impossible for humans to leave something called the Van Allen belt. Okay, the Van Allen belt is this electromagnetic field that protects us from cosmic radiation. So that the belts themselves have heavy radiation. So if you go into it, you die. But also if you leave the Van Allen belt, there's nothing to protect you from cosmic radiation, so you could die as well. So some scientists actually believe that it's impossible to leave Earth. Okay, we'll just die. I don't know how they were able to do this. And as you may know, right now, a lot of countries, America, China, are trying to get back to the moon. They're having a really hard time, okay? They're having a hard time because NASA lost all the technology, lost all the footage, lost all the data. Oops. Oh well. Okay. So how was NASA able to keep this secret? Well, guess what? A lot of their most important people were Freemasons. Okay, this is Buzz Aldrin, one of the 3 astronauts. He was a Freemason, okay? John Glenn, the first American to orbit the Earth, was a Freemason, 33-degree Mason, okay? As was James Webb, one of the first NASA administrators. James Webb, Kenneth Klett. So these people are embedded throughout the bureaucracy. And because they're able to coordinate, they have complete control of the bureaucracy. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter who's at the top. What matters is which bureaucrats are able to work together to achieve their vision. This is Werner von Braun. And he was one of the first NASA leaders. And he's a German. He was actually a Nazi who was brought over after World War II to help America build its space program. Okay? And he had a friend or a colleague named Carol Rosen. And we don't know if this is true. Okay? But what Carol Rosen tells us is that when von Braun died, he told us that the American government, was first and foremost concerned about spending money on space weapons, okay? And to do this, what America will do is continue to manufacture threats to justify all the spending on weaponry, okay? And then she lists the different threats. First, they will use Russians, okay? The Russians, we have to defeat the Russians in the space race. Then they'll be like, you know what? Terrorists, okay, 9/11. Then, third world countries, the crazies, like North Korea, okay? Iran. And then an asteroid. We need space weapons to protect the Earth from asteroids. And then the last thing is a fake alien invasion. Okay? Aliens. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So we'll talk about this later towards the end of the semester about a fake alien invasion, okay? That's part of the plan. And they've been seeding this for a long time. So I'll conclude by talking about different possibilities. You don't have to believe me, okay? In fact, there are, I think, 5 different possibilities as to what happened, okay? The footage looks fake. So how to explain this? Well, the first explanation is it's real footage. And we just believe the government, okay? But we also need to believe that they lost all the footage, lost all the technology, lost all the data. Okay, that's possibility number 1. Just believe what the government tells you. Possibility number 2 is America went to the moon, but the astronauts discovered too many secrets on the moon. Like there are space aliens on the moon. They can't tell us, so they create this fake footage, okay? That's the second possibility. Third possibility is America went to the moon, but because of the lighting, because of the difficulty of filming, they couldn't actually take any footage. So they made it up to please the American people. Okay? The fourth possibility is America went to the moon, but NASA decided to create this fake footage to fool the Soviets, right? Because if it's real footage, the first Soviets might be able to copy the technology, so we should just fake this thing and make fun of the Soviets, okay? Let's fool the Soviets. So the Soviets could not reverse engineer the success. Okay? That's also a possibility. Right? And the last possibility, of course, is America didn't go to the moon. And it's entirely your choice which possibility to believe. Okay? I'm just proposing different possibilities out there. So how can we know the truth? Well, we can use game theory to logically deduce what happened. Okay? So let's use game theory. All right. So we know that NASA's Apollo program cost $26 billion. Between 1960 and 1973. That's almost $200 billion today. They spend all this money, they need to produce a result, right? This is almost like 4% of all government spending in America. That's a lot of money. Also, you don't know this, but by 1969, America was falling apart for 3 reasons. First of all, America was fighting this pointless and hopeless war called Vietnam. Tens of thousands of Americans were dying for no reason. Hundreds of thousands of young Americans were protesting in the streets. The American dream seemed to be dying, okay? That's the first problem. Second problem is that the Soviets were destroying the Americans in the space race. The Soviets were the first to send an animal to space, the first to send a man to space, the first to orbit the Earth, the first to walk in space, the first to send a lunar module to the moon. So it seemed as though communism was superior to capitalism. It seemed as though the Soviet system was better than the American system, okay? There's a real fear that the Soviets would get to the moon first, okay? And also, the last thing is, remember, in 1963, JFK was killed. JFK was the prince, the king. So that put Americans in a very bad mood. But then later on, other prominent Americans like Robert F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King, they were all killed as well. So 1969, America was divided. It was falling apart. People felt hopeless, right? So what this means is that if America sent a mission to the moon and all the astronauts died or they didn't get there, America would have been broken, okay? People would have been depressed. And so according to game theory, America could not afford to take the risk of sending people to the moon. If they died, if it failed, America would have looked like idiots. Okay? But of course, there's always a counter-argument. And the counter-argument is, okay, this makes sense, but why did the Soviets call out the Americans and said, you guys faked this? Right? Why? America and so Soviet Union were in competition with each other. Everyone believed America went to the moon, but there's a lot of evidence to suggest that America didn't go to the moon. So why did the Soviets tell the world? Okay? That I can't answer for you. All right? So I just leave you with this thought. Okay? But what I believe is, within the next 2 years, the truth will slowly start to come out. And you will see for yourself what really happened.